the penultimate home game for the Glens Falls Dragons. May not mean a whole lot for the home team, but it's got some playoff implications for the squad across the diamond. The Boonville Lumberjacks look to make a push towards playoff contention and returning to the PGCBL playoffs. Welcome to East Field here in Glens Falls, New York. I'm Nathaniel Cunningham, joined alongside Luke LaRose. And before we get into what Boonville has to do today, Luke, we got to talk about yesterday against the Amsterdam Mohawks for Glens Falls. Through 4 innings, it was a 2-1 ball game in favor of Amsterdam. Glens Falls started to look like the momentum was going to crawl back their way. But then in that 5th inning, a walk to John Young Jr., a Luke Filippi single, a Chris Holcraft single, a sacrifice fly, and then Bright Touchstone's 5th home run of the year made it a 6-1 game. The Dragons couldn't come back.
And for Glens Falls, those demons of Amsterdam continue to rear their ugly head. Close game, and like we've seen all year long, they are a middle-of-the-game team. That's where they kind of start to kick into gear. But a couple, not errors on the scorecard, but errors nonetheless that let Amsterdam get the lead.
And we're still quite a few errors on both squads, but nothing that really stood out as the reason for why the Dragons would fall behind that game 11-1. That now means it's the 3rd straight year Glens Falls goes winless against Amsterdam. Their last time they took down the 3-time PGCBL champions was back on June 22nd, 2022, 1,130 days ago. There's another team, though, they've had a little bit more success against, and that's the Boonville Lumberjacks, who currently sit at 18-20 in this year's playoff standings, and they're a game and a half back, Luke, of that final playoff spot.
They're a game and a half back. If you look, their last 10 games, they've only gone 1-9, although that win was their last time out. They were up pretty hitting cruise control for most of the year. They've stumbled late in the season. Unfortunately, that's why they're a game and a half out. But a win tonight could claw them back a game or half game.
The Lumberjacks started the year as what looked to be the second best team in the East Division in the PGCBL. They had an absolutely incredible month of June. However, they lost a couple of players, some getting shut down for the year by their collegiate coaches. And like you mentioned, Luke, over their last 11, they are 1-10. That is what put them at 18-20-1 on the season that has under a week to go. With that being said, the team above him, the Mohawk Valley Diamond Dogs, are 21-20-1, and they're 10 games out of that elusive first place spot, which Amsterdam has had a chokehold of all year long. But Mohawk Valley does play tonight. They take on the Utica Blue Sox. That one at Murnane in Utica. So if you're a Boonville fan, you want the Blue Sox to come away and continue to win, and that would hopefully give you the best spot to jump within a half game of Mohawk Valley. If Boonville is going to win, though, they're going to need to utilize their leadoff hitter, Andy Perez, who is just 2 stolen bases away from having the PGCBL record in stolen bags.
So a decent chance we get to see a little bit of PGCBL history made tonight if he can pick up the 2. But when you look at those 42 stolen bags, something that jumps out the page, he's only been caught stealing twice on the entire year. That is impressive.
A guy that's got speed, the utility man out of Pittsburgh, has had an absolutely incredible year. He's been the leadoff hitter for Boonville all season, and he's been absolutely stellar at giving this Lumberjacks the best possible chance at making postseason play. The last time a player came even close to that record, though, Luke, it was 3 years ago in 2020. Before that, it hadn't happened since it was broken back in the mid-2010s. So to see what could be PGCBL history here at East Field is great to celebrate our throwback night with the Dragons in these beautiful white and black jerseys with letters celebrating all of the Major League prospects that have played in any rendition of baseball with what was the Dragons, formerly the White Sox, and a whole bunch of teams that have played here at East Field and seen a lot of success.
Yeah, on the back of the jersey, it does feature some major leaguers, both current and former, that have at one point played here at East Field. Got John Schmaltz, the Hall of Famer, on there. The list goes on and on. Nick Pivetta, currently on the Padres. Ramon Laureano, currently on the Orioles. Taylor Saucedo, I believe he's on the Mariners right now. He was a Golden Eagle. Dave LaPointe, former Chicago White Sox, hometown guy, played for the Glens Falls White Sox as well.
A lot of names that sit on the back of the jerseys. Legacy is what today is about, and the Dragons have a chance to make some legacy and push towards righting some of the wrongs they've had in 2025. In order to do that, they've got a lineup that looks a little bit different. Some pieces for the Dragons have gone home, and mentioned it about a week ago that leadoff hitter Tyree Jackson has left the squad. Both Christian and Logan Moat. Logan, unfortunately, been injured most of the year, but Christian no longer with the squad, as well as the PGCBL leader in home runs, Nick Galello, also not on the squad anymore. Instead, it'll be a different lineup for head coach Ryan Dio. He's going to roll out Tate Van Alsten, the left fielder, to start things off. James Houghton, the second baseman, hits 2. Joe Carpier's will be in the 3-hole with Robert Mello, who's been the consistent cleanup guy the last 3 weeks. He'll be in the 4-hole. Cameron Biller's over at 5, or over hitting 5th, over at 1st. Enrique Diaz returns to 3rd, hitting 6th, with Ryan Jones behind the dish. Travis Schroe will be out in center. And the big name in this lineup, Luke, Dylan Harding, will be hitting for himself as today's starting pitcher.
A little bit surprising when I heard that news. We have not seen that all year from any Glens Falls players, pitchers I should say, but the depth is looking a little weak, and Harding said he would. So he's going to go out and try not to be an automatic out.
Harding has taken some swings before. He came to the field with his bats. He said he was ready and excited to not only perform on the mound, but also be able to perform in the box and do his best Shohei Ohtani impersonation in the penultimate home game at East Field. On the flip side, the Lumberjacks, they're going to roll out, obviously, Andy Perez. He'll be the extra hitter in today's ball game, leading it off for Boonville. Chase Triplett, the left fielder, follows him with Angel Santiago, the shortstop, in the 3-hole. Hitting cleanup is Carter McKay. He'll be out in right with Jeremiah McLemore, the designated hitter, and Jorge Oliveira behind him in center. Erwin Cabasa is over at second with Connor Larson behind the dish. Miguel Gonzalez will be at the hot corner, and Akil Namala rounds out a 10-man lineup for Boonville, something we've seen the Lumberjacks do all year long.
They've done that all year, and we mentioned earlier Andy Perez, but look at Chase Triplett. He's hitting .397 on the season, including 8 doubles and 2 homers, tied for the team lead with 20 RBI. He's slugging .577, has an on-base percentage of .515.
A couple of these players in this Lumberjack squad can absolutely swing it. They can hit the ball to every part of the field. They've done a good job at that, especially back in June. It's just been a little bit rough doing that in the month of July. We'll step aside for a couple of minutes as we get set for the Dragons versus the Lumberjacks, the penultimate game here at East Field. Welcome back into East Field as we celebrate Throwback Night with some of the stars on the field after the first pitch, and the Dragons looking to take on the Boonville Lumberjacks. Joined alongside Luke LaRose, I'm Nathaniel Cunningham. We already walked you through the lineups a little bit earlier. We got to talk about this starting pitching matchup, though, Luke. Dylan Harding is starting for the Dragons. He's getting his first start in about a week. Took the mound right here at East Field against the Amsterdam Mohawks back on July 19th. In that matchup, despite the 7-2 loss, he pitched 7 innings, gave up 9 hits, 6 runs, 5 of which were earned. I think more impressively, though, he didn't throw any strikeouts, and that's something we've seen all year long, is that when the Dragons actually throw strikes and challenge other teams, usually it works in their favor. It didn't against the best team in PGCBL history.
No, that's the reason why Amsterdam's the best team in the PGCBL. And I think during that game, we thought that Harding's outing was a little worse than it actually was, especially when you look at the numbers. But he was solid once he found the zone and challenged those hitters.
And that's something that, as more and more pitchers, instead of trying to work around, and some of the Dragons staff has tried to just be fancy with it instead, and I think Jake O'Connor, who looks like he's probably going to pitch at some point today, is a prime example of a guy that is going to attack hitters and make the hitter beat them instead of beating themselves.
Yeah, and that has caused against some better teams for O'Connor to have outings where he struggled. But I noticed last time out for Harding, he had innings where he attacked the zone and he had innings where he danced around. And those innings where he attacked, he was so much better. And O'Connor, same thing. Well, if they can attack the zone, they're going to be so much better.
So Harding, has got to attack the zone early against the dangerous speedster of Andy Perez. He steps into the box, gets ready for Harding's first pitch. Perez again, the utility man out of Pittsburgh. First pitch is in the zone for strike one, and we're underway. Perez is, even with the 42 stolen bags, hitting a 311 on the year. As he watches that one on the outside half. 0-2. Leads the team in hits with 37. Does lead the team in about every statistical category. The 0-2 is drilled back up the middle, and there's why you see the Lumberjacks leader in base knocks. Adds his 38th of the summer and starts the day with a single. So Perez, again, 2 stolen bases from the PGCBL record. One would tie it. He's got 42 as the lefty Chase Triplette steps on. Perez is on the move. The throw from Jones, not in time. Andy Perez has now tied the PGCBL record in stolen bases. He's got 43. Puts himself in scoring position with an 0-1 count to Triplette.
And it was a great throw, too, by Jones. The issue is Perez is just so quick. There's nothing that Jones can do.
Jones is now 11% for catching runners as Triplette fouls that one off to the left side, off the pole and over towards the bleacher section with a couple of fans who are along the left-hand side. 1-1 the count. Again, Triplette leads the Lumberjacks with a .397 batting average. Got those 8 doubles that leads the team as well as Harding steps off to go check on Perez. Nobody's there to hold the bag, so no throw. Harding back to come set. The pitch. Swung on and missed. 1-2. Triplette, those 20 RBIs. Tied top the team. Harding taking a lot of looks to the pitch in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to the left fielder. The 2-2. This one's drilled out into the right center field gap. Deep back goes Stroh at the wall, and he's got it on the run. The throw in will allow Perez to get to third. It's allowed out by Trace Triplette, but the first of the ball game for Dylan Harding.
That'll happen sometimes when you pitch to contact. You just get barreled up. But Stroh's got great legs out in center field. He's able to run that one down.
The weather not making it the most pleasant evening here at Eastfield. It's starting to get really grim and dark. No rain expected, only a 10% chance, but the gray clouds that stand over Glens Falls don't make it an easy sight. In steps the shortstop Angel Santiago. He chops the first pitch back to the mound. Harding grabs it, flips to first. Perez looked like he might charge because Harding never looked at Perez at third. Instead, it'll go down as the second out, and Harding can get out of this one clean.
And that'll also happen when you pitch to contact weak, soft contact, which is the goal. And an easy put out for Harding.
So now in steps the lefty home run leader for Boonville, Carter McKay. He's got 4 long bombs on the year. He watches the first pitch outside, 1-0. Mentioned McKay's 4 bombs. He's actually tied with Perez, who also has 4 home runs this summer. He watches that pitch also outside. 2 balls, no strikes. McKay hitting .330 with a .530 slugging percentage. He does strike out, though, quite a bit. He's got 24 Ks to just 12 walks. 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. The 2-0 is swung over the top of. 2-1. Harding comes set. The pitch. This one's popped up out into right, shallow right field. Mello's got to come in quite a way, and it's going to drop in his feet as Perez comes in to score. So the Lumberjacks become the first team to bring a run across. They start this ball game and take an early 1-0 lead.
That one, maybe a little bit of miscommunication. I thought Houghton maybe could have grabbed that one out at second, but it found the hole nonetheless.
James Holland had to go quite a bit of ways just to even come close to that one and didn't really have a chance after being called out by Mello, who watched it drop right below his feet. So in steps the designated hitter, Jeremiah McLemore. McLemore chops the 0-1 pitch back to Harding just to the left of the mound. He'll throw over to first for out number 3, but Boonville strikes first. They grab an early 1-0 lead here at Eastfield. The Lumberjacks struck first. Andy Perez led the game off with a single. He would nab what is the PGCBL's tying season single record in stolen bases with his 43rd of the summer, and then ultimately be brought in on a Carter McKay single to right field. So the Lumberjacks lead it 1-0, but it's the top part of Glens Falls lineup that looks to maybe break through. But over the last 4 games, Luke, it's just not been pleasant for the Dragons. Over the previous last game, they had 1 hit through the first 4 innings. The 3 before that, they were no hit through the first 3 1/3. Luckily, that 4th inning in those 3 games was when the Dragons were able to break out of that slump. So they would love nothing more than to reverse those fortunes here today. But it's Tate Van Alsten who looks to get it started against Riley Cahill. He watches a first pitch curveball in the zone. 0-1. Van Alsten has presumed the leadoff spot. Rolls Stroh coming to the bottom of the lineup as he hits that one hard over towards the shortstop, Santiago. He struggles to field it, no throw at first. And Van Alsten will reach on the E6. And the Dragons have a leadoff runner of their own.
That was a laser. Just too hard for him to handle.
So in steps the second baseman, James Houghton. Houghton this year, the lefty bat, has made it hard to take him out of the lineup. Both his defense has been stellar, but also taking some quality at bats as Van Alsten's on the move. The throw from Larson, not in time. Connor Larson, the catcher for Boonville, is now 0 for 10 on stolen base attempts. So wonder if head coach Ryan Dio knows that and if he's going to try to push the buttons of the Boonville backstop. It's a 1-0 count to Houghton with Van Alsten now on second.
And that was just a super late reaction from Larson. Van Alsten was well over a quarter of the way to second before he even registered what was happening.
That pitch is upstairs. 2 balls and no strikes. Van Alsten nabs his 4th stolen bag of the year. Up to this point, he was 3 for 6. So he puts himself back above 50% on the summer. The 2-0. Runs inside, gets away from Larson behind the dish, but stays close enough to keep Van Alsten at second. 3-0. Again, these throwback jerseys that the Dragons are wearing. It's white with the black sleeves. It's got the red Dragons logo across the front. On the back, though, is a script style number with block letters for their names, and then the images of those MLB talents surrounding the number. The 3-0 pitch on the outside, called strike 1 by Justin Quance, the home plate umpire. Looked like it might have been a little outside. Instead, makes it a 3-1 count. Quance making his first appearance here at East Field this summer. So we're in the final week. Bill Decker, a veteran here in Glens Falls, is out in the field. The 3-1 swung on and missed. Houghton swung at ball 4 to make it a full count. There's an absolutely humongous gap on the left side of the field. Gonzalez is hugging the third base bag, while Santiago, the shortstop, is holding on Van Alsten. The payoff pitch is lined over the head of Gonzalez and down the left field line. In to score will be Van Alsten. Houghton's going to go for second, and he's there standing up. It's an RBI double for James Houghton, and that ties this ball game at 1.
Great piece of hitting. Just popped it over the third baseman's head. That one got all the way down to the wall, which is a little surprising. But that allowed Houghton to get in there safely at second.
James Houghton, that's his 2nd double of the summer. His 5th RBI this season as well. And it ties this ball game up early. In steps Joe Carpier's, who watches the first pitch upstairs, 1-0. Carpier's would like to reverse a little bit of the misfortunes he's had. He's still hitting .259 this summer, and he's been the defensive shortstop. The issue has been the 27 strikeouts he's had this year. It's most on the team as he fouls that one off hard to the right-hand side. 1-1. It's a good thing Luke, too, even with that foul ball by Carpier's, everything that the Dragons have made contact with to this point has been hit pretty hard.
They've made great contact off the bat. Carpier's, he reached on an error, but that was a hot error. And that was a really hard hit ball over the head of Gonzalez, too.
The pitch from Cahill. Check swing from Carpier's. It's in the dirt. 2-1. Cahill has suffered from giving up a couple of extra base hits. He's given up now 8 doubles and a triple, but he has not allowed a long ball. He does hit the most batters out of anybody on Boonville. That pitch misses upstairs. 3 balls and 1 strike. And Cahill's got a 5.10 ERA. This is his 8th appearance of the summer. But he's the most veteran pitcher for the Lumberjacks in 30 innings. He's only given up 17 earned runs. The 3-1 is swung on and missed. Carpier's took a big cut at it. It sounded like he got a tiny piece of it, but it was able to be held on by Larson to draw another full count to Cahill. Cahill comes set, takes a long look at second. Now we'll look back at third and home. The payoff. In the dirt for ball 4. And Carpier's will waltz his way down to first to put runners on first and second with nobody out. So now the left-handed right fielder Robert Mello will step in. He digs into that left-handed batter's box with a couple of runners on and nobody out. First pitch, Mello sees he's underneath. 0-1. Mello this summer hitting .292. As he fouls that one off hard to the left-hand side. And we keep talking about it, Luke. This hard contact, eventually it's got to really go in favor of Glens Falls.
It does. And it's typically all on his fastball, which is not super fast.
Cahill takes a long look at second. Now will come home. The pitch. Outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The 1-2. In the dirt. Mello does a good job to check his swing. Makes it 2 balls and 2 strikes. So James Houghton stands at second. Carpier stands at first. The Dragons already have a run home this frame. The 2-2. Breaking ball outside, called strike 3 by Quant at the plate. Mello has a conversation with him real quick, saying he didn't think that was anywhere close. And from our vantage point, it looked outside, but the home plate umpire says it got a piece. And it's the first out and first strikeout of the ball game for Riley Cahill.
We've seen ones in similar spots already get called balls, so you can understand Mello's frustration. But Cahill likes to use the upper part of that zone with his fastball.
In steps the big first baseman Cam Biller, who watches the first pitch almost run and grab him on the arm. Instead, he pulls away just at the last minute, 1-0. Biller hitting .205 with a pair of doubles this season. He watches that one in at the knees. 1 ball, 1 strike. Biller has been the definition of hitting the ball everywhere except where it would count as a base hit as he fouls that one off. He has done an excellent job at finding the gloves of the defenders. He hitting just 204, but he's only got 4 walks and 5 strikeouts on the season. He hits the ball hard, just straight at guys. The 1-2 is fouled off to the right-hand side. It'll curve out of play over by the Dragons bullpen. Means we get to redo the 1 ball and 2 strike count. Hahn at second taking a very sizable lead with the infield not really holding him on. The pitch. This one's chopped over towards the third baseman, but it'll get foul towards now the Boonville bullpen. One of their guys will come out and grab it. The slow roller on a move. And so Biller fighting off a lot of pitches this at-bat. He's had 3 straight foul balls for the first baseman. We also see a couple of fans settle into center field, straightaway center, up in the bleacher seats. The 1-2. He pops this one off to the right-hand side. It's going to get out of play, foul. This one a little closer to the snack shack. And now that's 4 straight foul balls for Biller. We've seen a couple times this season, Luke, some fans head out there to center field. We've also got some out a little bit behind the right fielder. Maybe giving Carter McKay out there and right a little bit of some chirps along the fence. The 1-2. Swung on and missed. Back-to-back strikeouts for for Riley Cahill. Sits Cameron Biller down for the second out.
And got him on a high fastball. We've seen Cahill go to that well a little bit. When it's down in the zone, Glens Falls is teeing up on it right now. They're making hard contact when he gets that ball down towards the middle of the zone. Up in the zone, he's had a little bit more success.
So in steps Enrique Diaz, who watches the first pitch on the outside half. 0-1. Diaz hitting sub 200 this summer. Is still looking for that first extra base hit as he chops this one weakly back towards the mound with Cahill. He'll flip to first and get the third baseman. But the Dragons even it up. It's a tie ball game as we head to the second in Glens Falls. The Dragons would respond with a run of their own in the bottom of the first and tie this ball game at 1 apiece as we head to the second. It'll be 6, 7, and 8. Jorge Oliveira, Erwin Cabasa, and Connor Larson that look to get it done for the Lumberjacks, who hit around Dylan Harding hard in that top of the first. They got some good contact, just like the Dragons did in the bottom half. Will look to continue to do so in the second. The first pitch, this one's popped up weakly into shallow right field. Houghton goes over, calls everybody off, and it's 1 pitch, 1 out in the top of the second. So the second baseman, Erwin Cabasa, will step in. Cabasa's got a .316 average in what is his 11th game of the summer. Got a pair of doubles to his name. As he watches the first pitch and just missed the outside half, 1-0. It seems like every other team, Luke, except for the Dragons, have got their entire lineup well over that Mendoza line. This one hit hard on the right side through the infield and over towards Mello and right. He goes down to one knee to grab it, throws it in, but it's a 1-out single for Cabasa.
They were saying that Glens Falls on the year, they're on the lower end of average across the league. And with hits like that from Cabasa, you can see why a lot of these guys are hitting over 300. Just reached out and slapped that one the opposite way.
Dragons actually have the lowest batting average in the PGCBL. They score just shy of 4 runs a ball game. That's 14th in the league as well. Harding's first pitch now to Connor Larson's well outside. 1-0. Larson defensively has been pretty all over the place. He's now 0 for 10 on stolen base attempts, has a backstop as he checks his swing but doesn't go all the way around. And Larson will now watch the 2-0 in there for strike one. But he has been a little bit better at the plate. He's hitting 182, but this is just his 4th game on the year. So he's 2 for 11, still looking for that big breakout game. As the Lumberjacks have lost both of their other catchers as he drills his 3rd hit of the summer over towards Mello and right. It drops off of the right leg of Mello, and the throw in, not in time, allows Larson to move up to second. And the single with an error from Robert Mello makes it runners on second and third with only 1 down.
That was a hard hit ball. Harding, to have success, has to pound the zone. Sometimes he gets hit hard like that, and just a bad reaction from Mello.
And for a team that has got well north of 60 errors on the season, is the worst defensive team in the PGCBL. The Dragons, or Dylan Harding, needs to have some trust that his team can make those plays. It just hasn't happened this year as that one runs up and hits off the head of Miguel Gonzalez. So he pops up, looks like he's all right, but Harding, who's missed to that left side of home plate quite a bit today, continues to do so and adds a hit by pitch to his resume and loads the bases.
Looks like that one kind of just slipped out of his hand. Might need some more rosin, but I don't see a rosin bag on the mound.
So all of a sudden, Ryan Jones will go have a conversation with his starter, maybe just to settle him down, as Akil Namala, the first baseman, will step in. And Namala started the year over at the hot corner. He just wasn't able to make those plays over towards first, and so instead, head coach Jay Gonzalez convinced him to move towards the first base bag, and as a result, he's seen a little bit more success, hitting .239 with a pair of doubles as well. The first pitch he sees, he pops up into foul territory along the right-hand side. Mello's going to go over for it, but it'll land on the concourse and out of play. 0-1. You see the corners for Glens Falls coming in. Diaz at third and Biller over at first, playing on the grass. Anything hit to them, they'll come home to get the force out. Up the middle, the Dragons will look to turn their 14th double play of the summer. The 0-1. Hit back up the middle, past the outstretched glove of Harding. Carpier's gets it, throws to first because that's the only play he's got. And it's out number 2, but a run comes home for Boonville. They retake a 1-run advantage, and all the runners will move their 90 feet. So Namala does a good job to sacrifice himself and allow a run to score on the 6-3 putout. Cabasa comes home to score. Larson and Gonzalez move to third and second respectfully, and the lineup card flips over to Andy Perez.
And that was a great piece of hitting. Put it dead center up the middle.
Perez is now hit with a baseball. This one off his left arm and not wearing any sort of protective gear there. Just kind of takes it and bounces over towards the Dragons' dugout. But the second hit by hit batter in 3 batters for Dylan Harding loads the bases once more. Luke, we mentioned that we thought the outing from Harding against Amsterdam a week ago was not nearly as bad as it ended up being. It hasn't looked the prettiest for the starter today either. His first pitch now to the left fielder, Chase Triplett, hits the zone. 0-1.
Yeah, you look at it, gave up 6 runs, 5 earned. But more importantly, he gave Glens Falls a chance in that game, and he's going to try to do his best here again. He's in a tough pickle right now.
The 0-1 tries to hit that outside half. It does so successfully. That pitch looked like it ran along the right-hand batter's box line, but instead home plate umpire Justin Quans calls it strike 2. So it's an 0-2 count, bases juiced for Chase Triplett, who flew out to center. That one does miss outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I think he got a little bit flustered after he got barreled up on that hit to right field, but he's gotten back in the groove in this batter so far.
The defense for the Dragons shifted a little bit towards the left-hand side with the lefty. That one hits the outside half, and it's the first strikeout for Dylan Harding. It strands the bases loaded, but not before Boonville gets 1 across. They now lead it 2-1. We're back in the bottom of the second. Runs scored in every frame. The Dragons look to keep that stretch alive. It's Ryan Jones, Travis Stroh, and Dylan Harding, the pitcher, all going to take some swings in the bottom of the second. A little bit of a errant inning for Harding. So he gets to hopefully offensively turn around and have some success himself at the plate. Jones, the catcher, will step in. He gets to welcome Cahill back to the mound as he watches the first pitch below his knees, 1-0. Cahill was, every ball that came off the bat of Dragons seemed like it was hit hard, not able to avoid that weak contact pitchers strive for. The 1-0 also low. 2 balls and no strikes.
He was able to get one dribbler back to the mound off of Diaz, but other than that, they hit him hard.
So Jones has a 2-0 count. He watches a big breaking ball that gets the outside half. 2 balls and 1 strike. Amongst qualified hitters, Ryan Jones actually now has the worst batting average on the team. He's just 4 for 33 this summer. The 3-1. This one's drilled foul along the right-hand side, and it'll get out of play over onto the concourse. So Jones was in a 3-1 count. Now it's a 3-2 count. And Cahill, who had a pair of strikeouts in the bottom of the first, can add his third of the ball game. Takes a big deep breath on the bump and delivers the payoff. Which a check swing from Jones. They'll ask if he went around, and field umpire Bill Decker says he did not. So it's a leadoff walk for the Dragons to bring up the center fielder, Travis Stroh.
That was a good job laying off that one. That high fastball is tempting for a lot of hitters. Got Biller on one earlier, but Jones was able to see it.
And Stroh, who was the best hitter for the Dragons through June, takes a big cut at a pitch at his neck. 0-1. But once Tyree Jackson arrived with the Dragons, Stroh essentially lost his starting spot and his momentum as he watches a big curveball upstairs. 1-1. So right now, Stroh's hitting 150 on the summer. 1-1 pitch. It's chopped up the middle over towards Santiago. He grabs it, steps on the bag, throws across the diamond in time. So a double play eliminates the leadoff walk and brings up the pitcher, Dylan Harding.
And
so it's the first at bat for the starting pitcher. He watches the first pitch along the outside half. 0-1. Harding out of UMass Dartmouth takes a big cut at the 0-1. No balls, 2 strikes. Harding can do anything possible to help himself out as he drills the 1-2 into the left center field gap. That's going to get down for a base knock. And how about that? First AB of the summer ends up as his first hit of the 2025 year. It's a 2-out base runner for Glens Falls.
a great piece of hitting, too. Good, hard contact. Found the hole out in the outfield gap.
So in steps The leadoff hitter, Tate Van Alsten, he watches a breaking ball on the outside half. Van Alsten's seen a pair of breaking balls from Cahill. But last AB was able to reach base and then eventually come around to score. The 0-1. Takes a check swing. They're going to say he went around. So no balls and 2 strikes. The pitch. Harding on the move. Van Alsten swings over the top of it, and it's strike number 3. So the Lumberjacks finally put up a scoreless inning, and they preserve their 1-run advantage. So after securing his first hit of the summer, Dylan Harding returns to the mound. With Boonville still out in front, 2-1. It'll be 3, 4, and 5 for the Lumberjacks to get it started. Angel Santiago, Carter McKay, and Jeremiah McLemore. Harding comes set. His first pitch is a breaking ball. They're going to say it was too far inside. 1-0. The pitch. This one's right down Broadway. Evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. The 1-1 bouncing in the dirt. Got away from Jones behind the plate. And Ed actually went up and hit Quantz, the home plate umpire. So it's 2 balls and 1 strike now to Santiago. He hit a weak ground ball back to the pitcher's mound. It was off to the right-hand side. It almost scored Perez, but not far enough away off the bump is the 2-1. Also in the dirt. 3 balls and 1 strike. Ultimately, what is likely the final outing of Dylan Harding's summer. And danced around these Lumberjacks a little bit too much as he puts that pitch outside. And it's his first true free pass. Even though he's hit 2 batters today, puts a leadoff runner on.
And we've seen this sometimes from Harding. If he gets hit around 1 inning, the next inning, he gets a little skittish until he puts himself in a situation where he has to throw strikes and he gets back in the groove.
Some would make the argument you have to throw strikes all the time, Luke. But either way, the point is made. Carter McKay will step into the dish. He watches the pitch just below the knees. 1-0. McKay's 1-for-1 with an RBI single. It landed just at the feet of Robert Mello out in right. He's able to bring it in. Andy Perez. McKay watches that pitch at the top part of the zone. Evens the count at 1-1 strike. That one's drilled on a line down the right field line, and it's going to land fair. It one hops off the wall as Mello goes in, grabs it. He throws it in over the head of the first baseman, Biller, and that'll easily allow Santiago to score from first. So it's the 5th double of the summer for Carter McKay. That brings around Angel Santiago and puts Boonville in front, 2-1.
And he pulls that one hard down the line, lands about 10 feet left of the foul line. And another barreled ball for Boonville against Dylan Harding.
So the second hit and the second RBI for Carter McKay. He'll put himself in scoring position now. And McKay has got a team leading 22 runs batted in. The first pitch to Jeremiah McLemore runs inside. 1-0. That one's hit on a line, past the outstretched glove of Carpier's and into left. Van Alsten fields it cleanly, throws towards Diaz at third, and it'll be a single that holds McKay at third. Puts runners on the corners with nobody out.
Sounded like a broken record so far this inning, but that was more good, hard contact from Boonville. Harding's going to need to try to generate some ground balls to dance around and get out of this inning, but right now Boonville's been able to square him up.
Jones has a conversation with the Harding, the second time the two of them have talked on the mound. And Harding almost looks dejected. It's like he doesn't know what to do in pitch to this Boonville squad. And we talked about it a little bit pregame. The Lumberjacks are 1 for 10 through their last 11 games. But today, they look like that team that came to Eastfield in just this first week of the season that was hitting the ball everywhere and was the second best team in the East through that first month. The first pitch now to Jorge Oliveira is outside. 1 ball and no strikes.
Despite Boonville's struggle over the last month and a half or so, they're still
That one's fouled straight back. 1 ball and 1 strike.
They're still putting the ball in play a lot. They're still getting on base.
The thing that really makes this tough if you're Dylan Harding is that you're expected to continue this outing regardless of how it goes, because the arms that Glens Falls has available really aren't that plentiful. Van Alsten can throw. O'Connor, we know, is available, and Tyler Neller are the only arms. That one is absolutely mashed, but it's mashed foul. And where it landed in foul territory was across the street, halfway up the tree. If that one was kept fair by Oliveira, that would have absolutely torn this game open. Instead, it just goes down as a long strike to redo the 1-2, which is chopped over to Carpier's at short. He fields on a 2-hop, throws to second, and it's off line. It'll go into right. Gets away from Hahn. Biller and Mello have got to run for it, and instead they're going to hold McLemore at third. So Oliveira will reach on the error from Joe Carpier's, and that E6 will put runners in scoring position, and a run comes home. So Oliveira still gets the RBI for that, because No matter what, McKay was going to score. But Boonville now has a 3-run lead with runners on second and third and still nobody out in the top of the third. Erwin Cabasa watches the first pitch outside.
And that time, Carpier's, I think, trying to do too much, rushed himself way offline.
8th error of the summer for Joe Carpier's as that one's hit back up into the glove of Harding. He throws to third, trying to get in a rundown. Diaz, who was at third, stepped off the pickle line, and that allows McLemore, the DH, to get back into third safely. So Harding did an excellent job to pick the ball and actually prevent McLemore, who was trying to come home. He threw to Diaz, who ran McLemore towards home plate, who then threw to Jones. But Diaz got out of the way, thinking that Carpier's was behind him. Instead, no one there. McLemore slid back into the bag, and it goes as a fielder's choice for Erwin Cabasa.
I don't know why they don't go to first there and get Cabasa anyways.
And that one is hit a mile high, but it'll be in foul territory off to the right-hand side. And it's hit over onto the concourse. And I mean, Luke, the reason they don't is if you can prevent another run from scoring, if you're Dylan Harding, get the leadoff runner. First and second with 1 out's a lot better than second and third, or second with a run coming home and only 1 out. At least I would think so.
At this point, you need to get an out. It's a tough trade-off, but check him over at third, make the throw down. Cabasa is not the fastest guy. Trade the out for the run, and your bats have been making good contact against Cahill.
That one's hit hard over towards the Dragons' dugout, off the fence, right by the bench where Glens Falls sits, and makes it a 1-2 count. So the ball bounced close towards the right field line, so we got to wait until that one's corralled by the bullpen, as Harding will step back on the mound. It's McLemore at third, Oliveira at second, and Cabasa at first. Connor Larson, the backstop. The lefty at the dish. He takes a big cut at the 1-2, and he comes up empty-handed for strike 3. Just the second strikeout for Dylan Harding, and it picks up a much-needed first out to bring in Miguel Gonzalez. Gonzalez, the third baseman, was hit by a pitch back in the second as he drills this one out to straightaway center field. Stroh's got to go back at the wall, and it's straight off the middle of the fence. 1 run will come home to score, but the entire Boonville lineup didn't know if Travis Stroh was going to make that grab. He deked the entire Lumberjack squad, and so it's a long RBI single for Miguel Gonzalez. Yet Boonville will grab another run and make it 5-1.
I also think they might have thought that that ball maybe squeaked out or that Stroh got it, but late reaction from Boonville, thankfully for Glens Falls.
Akil Namala watches the first pitch. Hit the outside half, strike 1. Harding comes set. The 0-1 pitch. This one's popped up into shallow right field. Mello comes in. He's got it for out number 2. Runner fakes the tag towards home. It was a great throw from Mello in right. Will keep the bases juiced, but turn the lineup over for the Lumberjacks. So the extra hitter, Andy Perez, will step in now. Perez is 1 for 1. He's reached base both times he's come to the plate. So 3 innings, 3 plate appearances for Andy Perez, who's got a single and a hit by pitch. He's also 1 stolen base away from the PGCBL record as he watches the first pitch breaking ball in the zone. 0-1. The biggest difference with Perez is that in these last 2 at-bats, he's come up with runners in front of him, so he can't even try to steal that bag. The 0-1 hits the outside corner. 0-2 the count.
And 2 great located pitches back-to-back from Harding.
The 0-2, just too far outside. Tried to go to that well once more. Makes it a 1-ball and 2-strike count. The pitch. Right down Broadway for strike 3. Perez takes a look at Quance like he has no clue what he's talking about. And he'll walk back to the dugout all confused. He'll have time to think about it. But Boonville grabs 3 runs and takes a commanding 4-run lead. So we head to the bottom of the 3rd. A massive 3-run inning where 8 batters came to the plate for Boonville gives the Lumberjacks a commanding 5-1 lead. The middle part of Glens Falls lineup will have to respond. James Houghton, Joe Carpiers, and Robert Mello look to get it done in the bottom of the 3rd. Riley Cahill returns to the bump for Boonville, and he throws his first pitch in the dirt for ball 1. 1-0. Houghton had a RBI double his first time up after Tate Van Alsten reached via an error. The pitch swung on and missed. Evens the count at 1-1. Houghton 1-2 lefties for the Dragons. The 1-1 breaking ball that stays upstairs. 2-1. Hahn going to play at Rhode Island. Just finished up his high school year. Now he's going off to the collegiate sphere, and something that he's not taken for granted, having this experience to see some of these college guys before he eventually will go play at the collegiate level, has given him a 1-up after having a pretty successful 2025. The 3-1 pitch. He drills that one foul to the left-hand side. So Cahill will come set. It's the third full count he's had today. It's the payoff. Outside for ball 4. James Houghton's had a pretty nice day. His 2 at-bats, he's reached base both times. A double and a walk. Puts a runner on to start the bottom of the third.
Just what the doctor ordered to start a little bit of a comeback. Get your leadoff runner on.
Hand the baton over to the shortstop, Joe Carpier's. He drew a walk his first time to the dish as they're going to go check on Houghton at first. He gets back in there with ease. Houghton does have a stolen bag this year, only the one. He's yet to be caught. Takes a small lead off of first as Carpier squares the bunt and the pitch in the zone for strike 1. Yesterday, you saw Glens Falls lay down an absolutely beautiful bunt. It was Chase Falcon who laid down a beauty in the 5th inning. The Dragons have not done that a whole ton this season. Instead, a lot of their placed bunts have been down the first baseline, and it's really been rough when you're trying to move runners over. But Carpier's pulls his bat back as he watches the pitch in the zone. So count evens at 1 ball and 1 strike. Cahill takes a look at first, then delivers a breaking ball that stays upstairs. 2-1. Waiting in the wings behind the shortstops, the right fielder, Robert Mello. The 2-1 pitch upstairs as well. 3 balls and 1 strike. It looks like Cahill is almost working around this Dragons team, probably to the same result that Harding was. After you give up hard contact, it can be a little demoralizing to then want to throw strikes in the zone. The 3-1 pitch is popped foul towards the parking lot, and it's back-to-back batters now with full counts. 3 balls and 2 strikes with nobody out here in the bottom of the third. Runner's on the move. Houghton goes to second, chooses not to slide, but it was ball 4 anyways. So the throw doesn't matter as Carpier's will draw his second walk of the ball game and put runners on first and second with nobody out. A little bit of a weird call from home plate umpire Justin Quantz. Couldn't tell if it was a strikeout, didn't make a motion, but kind of popped up like he was going to. So instead, both Houghton and Carpier's reach. That brings up Robert Mello, the right fielder, who went down looking his first AB. He watches that pitch outside, 1-0. First, it was also going to be a question why Houghton didn't slide into second, but knowing that it was ball 4, there's no need to stay up, or slide down, I should say. The 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball that hits the outside half. 1-1. The 1-1 pitch. This one's hit weakly out into center field. It's going to drop down for a base knock in front of Oliveira, and everyone will be safe. You saw Santiago get on his horse into shallow center field, but it went just over the top of his hat, landed in the green grass in front of the center fielder, Jorge Oliveira, and the bases will now be loaded for Cameron Biller.
That one, a little bit of a jammer in on his hands, but he does a good job of keeping his hands through the baseball and just muscling that one into center field.
So Biller went down on strikes his first time up. The swinging strikeout swung at a pitch in his neck, and he watches the first pitch hit the knees. 0-1. And Biller this year has hit the ball hard everywhere, just hasn't been able to find the holes. It's the 1-0. He takes a check swing on a pitch that misses upstairs. 1-1.
Seen Cahill go to that inside breaking ball a number of times on righties.
The 1-1. This one's popped up into the right center field gap. Over goes Oliveira. He's got it for out number 1. Tagging from third is Houghton. The throw to third, not in time. You saw Carpier's try to advance to third. Oliveira throwing towards the hot corner actually beat Carpier's, but a tag was not applied from Gonzalez. So the Dragons get one back. They now trail by 3. Carpier's moves to third. Mello stays at first, and it's a sacrifice fly for Biller to bring up Enrique Diaz.
Carpier's didn't slide, but Gonzalez, like you said, just missed him. That was a great piece of hitting by Biller to get it far enough into the outfield to score the run.
Diaz watches the first pitch, breaking ball. Hit the outside corner. 0-1. Diaz hit a weak ground ball back to the pitcher his first time around. The 0-1 pitch, he takes a big cut at. It looked like he stepped out early and then tried to step back in at a fastball low and away. No balls, 2 strikes. The 0-2 pitch. Check swing from Diaz in the dirt. And they're going to say he went around. So it's 3 pitches, 3 strikes from Cahill to Diaz. Picks up the second out in the bottom of the third to bring up the backstop Ryan Jones.
Diaz had it in his head. He was going to swing on that pitch no matter what. That one spiked in the dirt, and he got all discombobulated.
Jones drew a walk as immediately on the pitch, Mello's on the run. That one chopped over towards the shortstop, the throw to first in time. It's an excellent play from Santiago, who was headed towards the second base bag just in case, with Mello trying to grab second, and Jones chops one to him for out number 3. So the Dragons get one back as they trail by 3. We head to the 4th. The Dragons offense worked to get one back and make it a 5-2 ball game as they stranded a couple of other runners on the base paths. And they hand the ball back to Dylan Harding, who tries to keep Boonville scoreless for the first time today. Trace Triplett takes a big cut at the first pitch he sees. He's over the top of it. 0-1. The 0-1 pitch. Outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. So Triplett is 0 for 2 today as he has a ball run inside. And it's the third hit batter from Dylan Harding. And just runs too far inside and nails Triplett on the right hand leg to put the leadoff runner on once again. It's the third inning today where the leadoff runner has reached base. So in steps the shortstop, Angel Santiago. Santiago watches the first pitch just too far inside. 1-0. The pitch. That one hit the zone. Evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Santiago's 0 for 1 with a run scored. He hit a weak ground ball back to the pitcher and then reached via a walk just an inning ago as they're going to go check over in at first, but the ball was dropped by Biller. So easily back in as Triplett. But Santiago, his walk back in the third, he would come around to score part of that 3-run third frame. The 1-1 is popped up into the right center field gap. Mello loses it at first, but he goes and grabs it for out number 1 and forces Triplett back to first. These gray clouds above East Field have thinned out a little bit, but with the lights shining at full brightness in Glens Falls as we reach that 8:30 time slot, it makes those baseballs hit on a little bit of a rope hard to see. So the right fielder, Carter McKay, will step up. He watches the first pitch well too far outside. 1-0. You can make an argument that McKay has been the offense for Boonville today. 2 for 2 with 2 RBIs and a run scored. A double and a single to his name. Watches the pitch. Looked like it was at the knees, but home plate umpire Justin Quantz says it's ball 2. So 2 balls, no strikes to the cleanup hitter McKay. He takes a big cut at this one. It's popped up into center field. Stroh barely has to move to his left, but he's lost it in the night sky, and it lands to his right. He throws it in as McKay will waltz into second. And they're going to tally it a double. The second of the day for Carter McKay. He's now 3 for 3 with 2 extra base hits. And runners will stand in scoring position with 1 out.
Talk about those lights again. Another ball lost in the lights. Stroh was convinced that he had that one, but it was 10 feet to his left and 10 feet behind him. Or to his right.
In will step the designated hitter, Jeremiah McLemore, who's 1 for 2 with a run scored as well. It looks like it's a repeat of that third inning brewing at East Field. That one's drilled out to the right center field gap. Stroh's got to go back, running at full speed, he doesn't make the play. It hits off his glove and over towards the Dello Auto sign. Throws it into Houghton, and that'll be a 2 RBI double for Jeremiah McLemore. Boonville is rolling here at East Field. They've got a 7-2 lead now in the 4th. And I'm surprised, Luke, that there hasn't been a conversation from Matt Gonzalez or head coach Ryan Dio just to talk to Harding and calm him down. The only conversation that's been had is between Jones and the starter.
Yeah, it is shocking, for sure.
As the first pitch now to Jorge Oliveira is popped foul. 0-1.
Uh, I don't know if there's been conversations in between innings. I'm assuming there probably has been. But Harding's been struggling with his command a little bit. He's got 3 hit batters. He's been getting barreled up consistently.
That one's popped up a mile high on the infield. Carpier's calls off Houghton, goes towards the right side of the infield, but he has it for out number 2. So now the second baseman, Erwin Cabasa, will step in. He's 1 for 1 with a single and a run scored. The first pitch is drilled out to center field. Stroh's got to go back towards the wall, makes a jumping play, and this one's off his glove again. Cabasa will roll into second safely, and another run will come home to score. Goes down as an E8 on Travis Stroh. This one more egregious than the last. It was easily in his glove and just rolled out to make it an 8-2 ball game. Bad becomes worse for Glens Falls. McLemore scores. Cabasa takes his place at second as the first pitch now to Connor Larson is chopped foul. 0-1.
If I'm Boonville, I'm just going to try to rip one out center field ways because Stroh is having a night to forget out there right now.
The 0-1. This one's popped up on the infield over towards Diaz. He calls off everybody, and he's got it for out number 3. So Boonville continues its run. They put up a singular run in the first and the second. In the third and the fourth, they've put up 3. They have a commanding 6-run lead as we enter the bottom of the fourth. The Lumberjacks are trying to chop down the Dragons. They've got an 8-2 advantage here at East Field, and they're just rolling their offense, teeing off on the starter Dylan Harding, who's Up to bat second in this inning, it'll be Travis Stroh, Harding, and then the top of the lineup in Tate Van Alsten to get things going. Stroh in for the second time. He's 0 for 1 with a ground out over to short. Back in the second. He watches the first pitch way too far outside. 1-0. A 1-0 pitch does hit the outside half. Evens it at 1 ball and 1 strike. Boonville's got 9 hits today, as that one's popped foul out of play, and they've also reached on 3 errors. The Lumberjacks absolutely cruising. The 1-2. Chopped foul off to the right-hand side. First base coach Matt Gonzalez almost grabs it on the 1-hop. Instead, it blows right by to keep the count 1-2. There's even better news if you're Boonville. The Mohawk Valley Diamond Dogs currently trail the Utica Blue Sox 3-2 in the bottom of the 7th. That one's chopped foul over towards head coach Ryan Dio, who skips it right past his hand and over towards the Boonville bullpen. So if scores stay where they're at present, Boonville would become a half a game behind the Diamond Dogs for that final spot in the PGCBL playoffs. The 1-2 pitch hits the outside half for strike 3. An off-speed pitch on the outside froze Travis Stroh, and it picks up the 4th strikeout for Riley Cahill. The first pitch now to Dylan Harding is a breaking ball that stays upstairs. And again, Boonville competing for the final spot. The other 7 teams in the PGCBL playoffs are set as the 1-0 misses upstairs. 2-0 now the count to Dylan Harding. Over in the West Division, it's Jamestown, Bottvia, Niagara Falls, the Americans, and the Auburn Double Days that will play for a title. It's crazy to think about the fact the Elmira Pioneers are going to finish 2025 with a 22-19-1 record and miss the playoffs by 3.5 games. The 3-0 to Harding. Right down Broadway. 3-1.
Jamestown coming into tonight was back a half game for Batavia, and they've tied up for first in the West. So there's big implications out there as well.
The 3-1 pitch is in the zone. Harding thought it was ball 4. Instead, what was a 3-0 count for Cahill is now a full count.
I imagine Harding has a pretty good knowledge of the strike zone being a pitcher.
The payoff pitch. This one's below the zone for ball 4. So Harding reaches base for the second time today. He's got a 1-out walk. And turns the lineup over for the birthday boy, Tate Van Alsten. And Alston watches the first pitch outside for ball 1. 1-0. They hit Dylan Harding in a pickoff. The throw to first, now the throw towards the second baseman. Nab the pitcher trying to be too aggressive on the base paths. And it's out number 2. So Harding is just working himself into more problems with the 1-3-4 They call that a caught stealing, but it's just a pickoff move from Cahill. And the righty just deked Harding excellently on the base paths. As Van Alsten will now have emptiness ahead of him. As he takes a big cut at the 1-0 pitch, 1-1 is now the count. The pitch from Cahill. Chopped off to the left-hand side, over into the Boonville dugouts, tried to get fielded, and pops over the fence and into foul territory, out of play. So it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Tate Van Alsten, who's 0 for 2 today. He reached via an error and grabbed a stolen bag. Cahill, who's worked out of the stretch all day, comes set. The pitch. Swung on and missed. Cahill's got 5 strikeouts through 4 innings, and he has silenced the Dragons. The first time today, Cahill has yet to give up a hit. And Boonville still keeps their 6-run lead. We're back for the top of the 5th in a ball game where Boonville has blown it open early. Joined alongside Luke LaRose, I'm Nathaniel Cunningham. The Dragons have just 3 hits. They scored 2 runs off of it. On the flip side, Boonville's got 9 hits where they've scored 8. That one hit over to Houghton at second. It's an easy throw to Biller at first. And it's a 1-pitch, 1 out for Glens Falls.
And that's more of what Dylan Harding needs to do if he wants to give Glens Falls a fighting chance at all, is soft contact on the ground. Did it perfectly right there, off the end of the bat. Needs to do it again for the rest of the night.
So in steps the first baseman, Akil Namala, who watches that pitch hit the outside half, 0-1. Namala is 0 for 2 with an RBI today. He had a ground out back in the first that allowed a runner to come home and score. And then he flew out to right. Count evens, or excuse me, the count falls to 0-2 to Namala. Harding comes set. The pitch. Swung on and missed. Caught by Jones, the backstop, and the count was correct the first time. It's 1-2. The 1-2. This one swung on and missed for strike 3. Harding grabs his 4th strikeout of the day and makes it 2 quick outs to start the top of the 5th. So the lineup turns over to Andy Perez, who needs just one more stolen base for the single season record in stolen bases. He watches that pitch outside. 1-0. Perez has reached base twice, back in the first where he grabbed what was his 43rd stolen bag of the season, and then he reached again in the second via a hit by pitch. But there were runners in front of him, so he couldn't even risk taking or have the chance to take another base. The 2-0 outside. 3-0 to the speedster. Harding is set. The pitch. Below the zone for ball 4, and Perez draws a walk. Now you gotta wonder if head coach Jay Gonzalez will even think about sending him or what the situation is going to be like.
I was thinking about that too. On one hand, if he gets caught, it ends the inning. On the other hand, they're up 8-2, and they're in pretty good control of the game.
So Harding comes set on the mound. Perez with a little bit of a nice lead. He fakes his move. Jones was ready for it, but the pitch is in the zone. So an 0-1 count. Jones looked prepped and ready as Perez keeps inching closer and closer. They're going to go check on him, and they got him. Harding did a great job to just wait, almost fake like he was going to get home, and Perez jumped off a little too much. And now Perez has a conversation with the field umpire, Bill Decker, maybe quoting to exactly what I just said, the fact that it looked like Harding might have balked a little bit. Instead, he'll walk back to the dugout deflected, still waiting on that elusive 44th stolen base of the summer. Either way, Dylan Harding technically goes 1-2-3 for the first time today and keeps Boonville off the board for the first time in tonight's ball game. Can the Dragons offense respond? Welcome back to East Field after Dylan Harding kept Boonville scoreless for the first time in today's ball game. He went 1-2-3 in the 5th and allows his bats a prime opportunity to respond. It's James Houghton, Joe Carpier's, and Robert Mello to get it started for the Dragons. The 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball hits the outside half, 1-1. pitch. Runs inside, almost nails Houghton. He just dips his hips out of the way. Makes it 2 balls and 1 strike. And Houghton takes a big cut at the 2-1. Evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Cahill set. The 2-2. Breaking ball on the outside half for strike 3. The 6th strikeout for Cahill today. Sits down Houghton for the first time. And brings up Joe Carpier's.
That one caught a good chunk of the plate, too. I don't know what Houghton thought he saw, but that was a strike the whole way.
Carpier's will step into the dish. Technically hasn't registered an at-bat because he's drawn 2 walks in today's ball game as the first pitch is thrown in the dirt away from Larson, who tried to pick it on the backhand, and it jumped off his glove in front of home plate. 1-0. Cahill making quick work of the Dragons. The 1-0 hits him at the knees. Carpier's not too happy about it. 1-1. Just 3 hits in today's ball game. 1 error that started all the action for Boonville. Runs inside, almost nails Carpier's in the helmet. 2-1. Really, apart from that error from the shortstop, Angel Santiago, to start the ball game, Boonville has been perfect, I think is the next term that comes to mind. 1 extra base hit and 2 singles are the other base knocks for the Dragons. There's a pair of walks, but Riley Cahill on the bump has kept it clean since. So he's now got a 3-1 count to Carpier's, who hits the outside half and makes it a full count. Again, second pitch that was called for a strike that Carpier's hasn't loved.
I think that was a good call, though.
The payoff. Swung on and missed. Carpier's goes down for the first time today via strikes. And it's 3 straight for Riley Cahill. 4 in his last 5 batters. One of those 7 strikeouts also belongs to the right fielder Robert Mello, who steps in for the 3rd time today. He watches a pitch that hits the inside half, and Mello looks up over at head coach Ryan Dio, then down to Matt Gonzalez, a little confused. 0-1. Mello had one of the singles back in the 3rd. As he watches another pitch in the zone, no balls, 2 strikes.
I think the best way to describe the strike zone tonight has been generous. It's a little bit enlarged.
The 0-2 pitch, chopped weakly off the mound over towards the second baseman Cabasa. He can't field it cleanly, and Cahill's upset. As soon as Cabasa hit off his glove, Cahill aggressively turned, almost threw his arm in frustration, and walked towards the third base bag. Understandably, that would have got him out of the inning. Instead, the pitcher will have to throw to Cameron Biller. And it's going to go down as an E4. It's the second error for Boonville. Puts a 2-out base runner on the first. And Biller, who's 0 for 1 with a sac fly, will step in. He watches the pitch that's outside, gets away from Larson to the backstop, and Mello advances to second. It's plays like that that allow rallies to happen, or you have an error that could have been an out had Cabasa not tried to swing his arm aggressively with his glove as he did. Instead, there's a runner in scoring position and a 1-0 count to Biller that improves to 2-0. Biller takes a check swing, but home plate umpire Justin Kwan says he goes around. Makes it 2-1. The 2-1. Outside, 3-1 the count. Biller patient at the plate. Had a big sacrifice fly that allowed the second run for Glens Falls to come home and score. Cahill's pitch. Swung on and missed. Biller sent a little bit of a breeze up towards our broadcast booth. Made it a full count. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Just trying to put that one by the warehouse out in center field.
Cahill takes a quick look at second. Nobody holding on. Mello, the pitch, is swung on and missed. The third strikeout of the inning for Riley Cahill sends Cam Biller down on strikes. His 8th strikeout of the day. And Boonville is cruising. We head to the 6th. Harding returns to the mound for the 6th after his team tried to get him some help, but Riley Cahill of the Lumberjacks put down 3 strikeouts in the bottom of the 5th to keep it a 6-run ball game here at East Field. Alongside Luke LaRose, I'm Nathaniel Cunningham. It'll be 2, 3, and 4 for the Lumberjacks to get it started. Chase Triplett, Angel Santiago, and Carter McKay. Triplett steps in. He watches the first pitch hit the outside half. 0-1. Today, Triplett's 0 for 2. A flyout and a strikeout, but he was hit by a pitch in the fourth to lead off the inning and came around to score. He fouls this one off straight back, evens or makes the count 0-2. That pitch misses outside. Harding been a little bit all over the place, but with limited arms for the Dragons, the starter getting asked to go into the sixth as no one has even sniffed the bullpen for Glens Falls. The 1-2 also misses outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. There is movement for the Lumberjacks in their bullpen. The 2-2 swung on and missed. A fooled Triplett, who made a one-handed swing on a breaking ball in the dirt for strike 3. And Triplett heads back to the dugout with his second strikeout of the day. And first out in the top of the 6th.
There's movement in the Boonville bullpen because surprisingly, he's thrown about 10 more pitches than Harding has. He's right about 100 pitches.
First pitch now to Angel Santiago is in the zone, 0-1. He is Riley Cahill has thrown about 100 pitches in today's ball game. Harding, who's reaching ever closer to that number by the batter, as the 0-1 almost hits Santiago, 1-1. This will be pitch number 90 for Harding. Still got a little bit of a ways to work through before he gets to that century mark, as this one's fouled off to the right-hand side. Biller goes over, but it'll get out of play towards the concourse. 1-2. Harding comes set. The pitch. This fouled off also to the right-hand side. Harsher will get over the bleachers, and we get to redo the 1 ball and 2 strike pitch. Santiago's 0 for 1 today. Checks his swing. Pitch almost hit him on the arm. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Santiago's 0 for 2 today. He drew a walk back in the 3rd and would come around to score. Otherwise, he's hit a weak ground ball back to Harding on the bump, and he flew out to right field. The pitch is chopped off to the right-hand side, foul, back to the Dragons' dugout, where pitching coach Matt Gonzalez jumps off the bucket to grab it on the 2-hop and throw it back to his starter. So it stays 2 balls and 2 strikes to Santiago. The pitch outside for ball 3. And that makes it a full count. The 9th pitch of the at-bat to Santiago. He's fouled off a couple. He's making Harding earn it. The pitch is swung on and missed. The starter grabs back-to-back strikeouts and wins the battle to bring up the right fielder, Carter McKay.
Another good breaking ball dodged out of Santiago's bat path. Got him there.
McKay is 3 for 3 in today's ball game. He's got 2 doubles. One was an RBI double. He's come to score on both of those as he fouls this one off straight back. He had an RBI single back in the 1st as well. Makes sense why the big lefty is hitting cleanup. You mentioned the fact he's got 4 home runs on the year. He's got a team leading 22 RBIs now. As he watches the 0-1 hit the outside half. No balls, 2 strikes. but he's got a pair of doubles, and he's got some wheels on him, too. How about 2 triples to his name? As he watches the 0-2 pitch hit the outside, McKay immediately looks at Quantz, the home plate umpire, points his hand, and he's still looking at the spot. He throws it out in frustration. You thought maybe potentially some more words would be shared between the home plate umpire and the right fielder, but instead, home plate umpire Justin Quantz walks over, grabs his water bottle to have a drink, and we head to the bottom of the 6th. Boonville's kept scoreless for the second straight frame. Back at East Field in a 6-run ball game in favor of the Lumberjacks. New pitcher on the mound for Boonville is Anthony Schatz. That ends Riley Cahill's day as Enrique Diaz, his first pitch swinging. This went out to deep left center field. Over goes Oliveira, and he's got it for out number 1. Diaz, who's still looking for extra base hit number 1, throws his head back in despair because he knew he absolutely tattooed that baseball. Instead, it's the first out in the bottom of the 6th.
Like
Cahill,
you said, good hard contact gave that one a long ride.
and Cahill's day ends after 5 innings of work. Gave up just 3 hits, allowed 2 runs, only one of which was earned. He walked 5, but he struck out 9 and held this Dragons lineup pretty mute through his 5 innings of work. Anthony Schatz gives up loud contact to Diaz, but then throws a first pitch strike to the backstop Ryan Jones. 0-1 the count. So Schatz comes set. The pitch bounced in the dirt off the chest of Larson. 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1. Hit on the ground hard over towards the shortstop Santiago. He fields it cleanly, throws a high missile across the diamond. The tag from Namala is not in time. So an errant throw from Santiago makes it a second error on the shortstop and puts a runner on with 1 down. So into the box now is the center fielder Travis Stroh. He's 0 for 2 today with a strikeout and a ground out. He takes a big cut at the first pitch. 0-1. Stroh had a couple of those mistakes back in the fourth inning as the sun was still setting here at East Field. Lost some of the baseballs in the night sky. The 0-1 pitch is swung on and missed. 0-2 now the count to the center fielder. The 0-2. Breaking ball in the dirt. Larson does a good job to take it off the chest and make it 1 ball and 2 strikes. The pitch, check swing, but it's called strike 3. Stroh goes down looking for the second time today. And it's the first strikeout out of the bullpen for Anthony Schatz. So in steps the starter, Dylan Harding, who's 1 for 1 today. He had a single back in the second, drew a walk in the fourth, and was caught trying to be a little fancy on the base path. Larson lets the ball pass in front of him as he stands up. He now looks a little discombobulated. He's holding the side of his head. Looks like it might be his right eye, something that got up and got into the eye. He threw his mask off and went to go grab the ball pretty easily, but then slowed his way as he went over towards or down the first base line. So you see Jay Gonzalez, home plate or head coach for the Lumberjacks, step out just a tad bit as Larson takes a second to reset and will do so behind home plate. It's a 1-0 count with Jones, who stands at second now, to Dylan Harding. The pitch, chopped, foul. And again, you could see Larson still holding that right eye. Keeps rubbing it out, maybe a little piece of dirt that popped in there.
Maybe dirt from that ball in the dirt might have hit his eye trying to rip the mask off.
The 1-1. Outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. The 2-1. Bounced in the dirt. This one also gets away from Larson, but not far enough for Jones to advance. So the count becomes 3 balls and 1 strike to Dylan Harding. The top of the lineup waits in the wings behind the starter. This Dragons team needs to formulate some sort of offense. They haven't had a hit since back in the third. They've had a base runner reach in both innings since, and they've been left on the base paths as the 3-1 pitch is in the dirt, gets away from Larson, so Jones will get to third. And Harding will draw his second walk of the day to put runners on the corners with 2 outs. And Tate Van Alsten will step in. He's 0 for 3 today. 2 strikeouts, and he reached via an error to start the ball game, where he would then come around to score. Shots a little wild out of the bullpen. The 1-0 runs inside, gets away from Larson. Jones comes home. He'll score with ease. Harding gets to second, takes a big round, but will stay at second. So the Dragons eat into the deficit. It's now an 8-3 ball game.
Take runs any way you can get them at this point in the game, trying to make up a large deficit.
So Schatz came out of the bullpen and got a loud out from Enrique Diaz. It looked like the pitching prowess was going to continue from the Lumberjacks as they're going to now go check on Harding, but nobody was back there to hold him on. So Schatz comes off the mound, he's got to run at the starter, who just runs back to the bag safely. He looks over, kind of upset that Santiago or Cabasa, the shortstop and second baseman, weren't doing their jobs. Now Cabasa back at the bag as the 0-1 is swung on and missed. The 0-2 runs inside in the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Van Alsten's 0 for 3. Does have a stolen base. We know he's got speed. Something hit weakly. He could beat it down the first base line. The 1-2. Upstairs. 2-2. And it looked like shots would continue the great day from Cahill. Instead, an error started a little bit of a rally for the Dragons. Allowed Jones to reach. Stroh went down on strikes, but then Harding drew a walk. And now a couple of wild pitches have brought a run around. Deuce is wild here at East Field. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The pitch is swung on and missed. And Shots will only give up the 1. But it starts to eat into what was a 6-run deficit. It's now an 8-3 ball game. Welcome back to East Field here in Glens Falls, New York, as we enter the last third of this ball game between the Boonville Lumberjacks and the Glens Falls Dragons. I'm Nathaniel Cunningham, joined alongside Luke LaRose. And Dylan Harding, the starter, his day has come to an end. After 6 innings of work, he gave up 9 hits, allowed 8 runs, all of which were earned. He struck out 7 and walked just 2. Taking over on the mound is the left fielder, Tate Van Alsten. Taking his spot out in left will be Chase Falcon. So Van Alsten, the birthday boy, has had 4 at-bats at the plate. He's 0 for 4 right now. Looks to change his fortunes on the mound and keep it an 8-3 ball game. He's got to face the 5, 6, and 7 hitters in the lineup of Jeremiah McLemore, Jorge Oliveira, and Erwin Cabasa. The first pitch he throws is in the dirt for ball 1. 1-0 the count. As that pitch also misses low. 2-0. Van Alsten this summer has got a 9.82 ERA in what is his 4th appearance of the summer. He's pitched just 3 2/3 innings as he allows a breaking ball that stays too low. 3 balls and 1 strike. That one's hit mile high into foul territory. Diaz goes over, almost trips over his own feet, but he makes the play in foul territory. Diaz almost lost it on a little bit of uneven ground by the Boonville dugout. Instead, he's got it for out number 3. Carpier's looks like he has a little bit of words with the Boonville dugout. Can't tell if they're the friendly or not so friendly kind. He jogs his way back towards shortstop, and Jorge Oliveira will step into the dish. He watches a pitch that got beneath the glove of Ryan Jones. 1-0.
But on that foul, Diaz did a great job of staying with it despite the tumble. Did a great job of tracking that one as it faded away from him.
That one straight to the backstop over the head of Jones makes it 2-0. Oliveira today is 0 for 3. 2 pop-outs, and he reached base via an error. He almost came around to score. The 2-0 runs inside. 3 balls, no strikes.
All 3 pitches in on Oliveira. I don't think he's a big fan of that.
As the pitch finally comes across and hits the zone, Van Alsten gets his first strike of the bat. Makes it 3-1. The pitch runs inside, and it's a 5-pitch walk. Oliveira, very flashy with the bat flip, tosses it behind him, and he walks his way towards first. So Erwin Cabasa will step in. Cabasa 1 for 3 today. Had a single back in the second, and he's now getting his first plate appearance since the 4th as he hits that one through the infield on the left-hand side and in towards left with the new fielder, Chase Falcon. That moves Oliveira to second, and Cabasa will pick up his second base knock of the day. Put 2 runners on with 1 out.
Not the hardest hit ball of the night, but does hit it hard enough so it can skate by both infielders on the left side.
Connor Larson will step to the dish now. He's 1 for 3 as well with a single. Watches that pitch outside, 1-0. His single came back in the second, where he then advanced to second on an E9 from Robert Mello. He struck out and popped out as well today. The 1-0 bounced in the dirt, gets away from Jones behind the dish, not far enough to elicit either runner to think about moving. As Van Alsten picks up some dirt, maybe trying to reset, get some extra grip. You mentioned no rosin bag out there. We haven't seen one from either pitcher to get that extra control on the baseball. Van Alsten will come set, take a quick look at second, deliver the pitch. It hits the zone. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Seeing 4 pitchers tonight, 2 from each team. None of these 4 guys are using a rosin bag at all. So we've seen some slip, and I can only assume it's because of a lack of rosin.
The pitch, breaking ball, stays upstairs. 3 balls and 1 strike now to Connor Larson. Van Alsten's pitch is swung on and missed. Draws the count full against the 8-hole hitter. First payoff pitch for Van Alsten. This one's drilled out to straightaway center. Stroh has got it with ease for out number 2. Threw his hands up almost like he lost it again, trying to maybe deke the runners on the base paths. We'll pick up out number 2 and bring up the third baseman, Miguel Gonzalez. Gonzalez is 1 for 2 with an RBI today. He watches the first pitch right down Broadway, 0-1. He was hit by a pitch his first at-bat. He then had a single and grounded out. Van Alsten comes set, doesn't even look at second to deliver the 0-1, which is swung on to make it 0-2. That pitch misses just upstairs. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. The 1-2 in the dirt. Gonzalez working a good at-bat against Van Alsten. Down 0-2 early, has clawed it back to 2-2. The pitch. Runs inside, almost nails Gonzalez. Had a late reaction to a pitch that grazed the shirt. Either way, it makes an 0-2 count a full count. Van Alsten 1 pitch away from getting out of this inning. The Lumberjacks need to keep it alive, trying to regain that run they gave up in the bottom of the 6th. Van Alsten takes a quick look at second, delivers a breaking ball in the dirt for ball 4, and that will load the bases once more. So Akil Namala will step to the dish with the bases loaded. He's had an at-bat today with the bases loaded back in the 3rd, where he flew out to right field. A runner was not allowed to score. That one is drilled over into the right center field gap, and it's going to get down for a base knock. Rolls just shy of the Della Auto Group sign. 2 runs are going to come home to score. A third is going to try. Into the plate comes Gonzalez, and he's now caught in a rundown. Jones goes towards Diaz. Van Alsten at the plate. They've still got him, and now all of a sudden field umpire is going to say something happened with Enrique Diaz that forces the run to come home and score. So Ryan Dio comes out of the bullpen, or comes out of the dugout all upset. The entire team is frustrated because they thought Gonzalez was out of the base paths.
That would be the thing if a thing were to happen. Clearly, no.
So instead, it's going to go down as a bases clearing double for Akil Namala. The Lumberjacks will take an 11-run lead. 11-3 lead, excuse me. As Bill Decker makes the play, and Diaz is still trying to converse with Decker, and he's pointing. Again, the Dragons are more frustrated with where Gonzalez was actually running along the base paths. I'm not quite sure what would have made it impossible or would have forced the run to come home and score. And now you see Diaz even trying to plead his case with the third base coach of the Lumberjacks. Either way, the lineup card turns over for Andy Perez, who watches the first pitch low, 1-0.
My only guess is somehow Bill Decker thought Diaz impeded Gonzalez's way home, and they
And
just
Perez shoots this one into center field. It gets down for a base knock. Namala is going to get sent towards the plate. It's cut off by Biller. The throw, not in time. And now that you say that, Luke, it's exactly what happened because Diaz, who shaded off to the left, as you naturally do, you throw with your right and shade to the left because Gonzalez was so far out of the base paths. They're going to say that the contact between Gonzalez and Diaz is called interference, and that issues the runner to come home and score. So either way, Boonville now has a 12-3 lead off the RBI single from Perez, who's on the move on the first pitch. The throw from Jones, not in time. There is a new leader, a new all-time leader in PGCBL. Andy Perez has got 44 steals in 2025. No one has had more in league history. He stands on second with a 1-0 count to chase Triplette. Triplette watches a ball in the dirt. 2-0 the count. You saw the Boonville dugout. They were just kind of waiting for it to happen. They knew with that speed it was destined to. The 2-0 pitch bounced in the dirt. Jones keeps it in front. Good with the speedster on the base paths. 3-0 the count.
Speaking of dugout, there's a lot of energy in that Boonville dugout. They're up and moving around. They're pumped up, contrasted to the solemnness of the Glens Falls dugout.
What would be the mercy rule run is Andy Perez at second. The 3-0 pitch in the dirt, and Triplette will draw himself a walk to put 2 runners on. So the shortstop, Angel Santiago, steps to the dish. He's 0 for 3 today, but he did draw a walk back in the third, and he would come around to score. So after 2 quiet innings from Boonville, they scored 0 runs in the 5th and the 6th. They put up a 4 spot in the 7th, and they need 1 more to apply a lot of pressure to Glens Falls. First pitch hits the outside half, 0-1. The 0-1 pitch, breaking ball, runs inside, almost nails Santiago. If you are Boonville, there's a reason why you might be as excited as you are, because this would be your largest margin of victory since they mercy ruled Glens Falls back on June 29th. It was a 12-2 ball game in that one. They did it in 8 innings. They say history repeats itself a little shy of 30 days later. It seems as if the Lumberjacks are trying to do that again. The 2-1 pitch is chopped foul back into the netting to even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The difference is that that one was out in Boonville, where they had home field advantage, so they were able to walk it off in the 8th on a passed ball. Two in the dirt, just gets away from Jones and draws the count full. So it's 3 balls and 2 strikes to Angel Santiago. He's 0 for 3, a strikeout, a ground out, a fly out, and a walk to his name. Van Alsten on the mound. The payoff pitch is chopped over towards Diaz at third. He catches it on the 2-hop, fakes the throw across the diamond because there wasn't one, and eats it. So it'll go down as a base knock for Santiago, and the bases will be loaded. That brings up the big slugger in Carter McKay, who's 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs scored today. And Matt Gonzalez will come out to have a conversation with Van Alsten on the mound. If you're the Dragons, you need 1 out. That's all it's going to take to give you life. As it stands, the game would play out until the 9th. Nothing changes. If Andy Perez, who stands at third, comes around to score, the Dragons' 9 outs they would need gets cut to just 3 in the bottom of the 7th. So a massive out the Dragons need. All Boonville needs to do is draw a walk. Carter McKay hasn't done that today, but what he has done is put the ball in play hard. 2 doubles and a single, Luke.
Yeah, he has. He's been Boonville's best player all night long. He is the offense. And that was a long conversation. I don't think Gonzalez got to everything he wanted to say before the ump came and broke it up. But you got to be careful for McKay just hitting a rocket out in the outfield and effectively ending this one.
The Dragons will have a chance to respond, but if you're Boonville, this could not be a better situation because down in Utica, the Blue Sox beat the Diamond Dogs 3-2 the final. So if Boonville can keep their lead here and walk away with a win, they'd be a half game out of the final playoff spot. The first pitch to McKay is in the dirt from ball 1. So 1-0 the pitch as Van Alsten grabs some of that dirt by his landing spot. And McKay's got a pair of RBIs today. He now leads the team with 22 runs batted in. The 1-0 pitch is drilled out to deep right field. Mello goes over, and that's going to land to the left of the right field line. 1 run will come home to score. A second will come in, and they're going to hold McKay at second, with also holding Santiago at third. It's the 3rd double of the night for Carter McKay. The lineup turns over. 10 hitters come to the plate. 10 hitters hit around. It's 2 more RBIs for the right fielder, and Boonville has got a 14-3 lead.
And that was exactly what I worried about for Glens Falls. McKay hitting a rocket down the line. Doesn't empty the bases, but it scores too. Guy like that you got to be careful with, and he burnt you.
He's now 4 for 5 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs scored. And it's now Jorge Oliveira who started the inning with a pop-up to Enrique Diaz in foul territory. He watches a pitch in the dirt, 1-0.
It's pretty impressive when a team bats around with a 10-man lineup.
I think what's more impressive is the fact that they had 2 outs, 4 batters into this inning, and another 6 came to the plate. The pitch is again in the dirt, 2-0. So after Connor Larson flew out to center field, Miguel Gonzalez drew a walk, Akil Namala doubled to clear the bases, Andy Perez singled, Chase Triplett drew a walk, Santiago singled, and now McKay doubled. That is 4 hits and 2 walks to turn up the lineup over, all of which came with 2 outs. It's 14 runs on 14 hits as that one is hit a mile high into foul territory. It's going to get out of play over towards the bleachers and land in foul territory. So 3-1 now the count. And with that 2 RBI double from McKay, that puts pressure on the Dragons now because 9 outs they had to cut into what was, before this inning, a 5-run deficit. Has now been cut to 3 outs to dismantle 2 runs they would need to undo the mercy rule. The 3-1 pitch is popped up. This one will stay within catchable territory. Biller goes back into foul ground, and he's got it. for out number 3. So the Dragons stop the bleeding, but Boonville scores 6. They've put all the pressure in the world on Glens Falls, who needs 2 runs in the bottom of the 7th to keep this game alive. Six runs on 5 hits, no errors, and 2 runners were left stranded on the base paths. That's what's made it a 14-3 ball game here in the bottom of the 7th. The mercy rule is on, and the Lumberjacks hand the ball to Colin Schneider to keep it clean and send the Dragons home in despair. Anthony Schatz went just an inning where he gave up a hit, allowed a run, struck out 2, and walked 1. Schneider, who's appearing in his 4th game of the summer, has pitched just 3 innings to this point as the first pitch he throws to James Houghton is lined into center field for a base knock. And that proves the point of Schneider's 12 ERA through those 3 innings. He's given up 4 earned runs. He's only given up the 1 extra base hit, but he's walked 7, so he gets a little wild at times. And the Dragons, who need two runs to keep this game alive, started off with a leadoff single. In steps the shortstop Joe Carpier's now, who watches the pitch outside. 1-0. Carpier's takes a cut at that one. It's a broken bat into center field. Oliveira's got it for out number 1 as Carpier's will walk back to the dugout as he's gone 0 for 2 with 2 walks today, and he snaps a bat for the 2nd straight day. Yesterday against the Mohawks, out of frustration, he spiked the bat into the dirt and snapped it from end to end. A lot of firewood created by the shortstop as the first pitch to Robert Mello is in the dirt. 1-0. Mello today is 1 for 3, reached via a single and an error, and struck out back in the first. He watches the pitch outside. 2 balls, no strikes. They're going to go check over at first and back in safely as Houghton. The entire Boonville dugout thought he got back in safely, and now Bill Decker goes and tells the Lumberjacks to calm down. The 2-0 pitch is swung on and missed. 2-1. Lumberjack squad is arguably louder than when Perez stole that base to set the single-season PGCBL record. The 2-1 is hit on a line over towards the second baseman. It cuts a little bit and gets underneath the glove of Cabasa. Over to third goes Houghton, and he'll get held at the hot corner to put runners on first and third thanks to the E4. So the second time Robert Mello has reached via an error from Cabasa. And Houghton, who runs to third, means that Mello is now the run that would undo the mercy. Cameron Biller steps into the dish now. He's got a sacrifice fly to his name, but he's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts otherwise as he watches the first pitch strike 0-1. That one hits the zone and makes it an 0-2 count now. The pitch swung on and missed by Biller. He goes down for the third time today, and the Lumberjacks are 1 out away.
Biller keeps swinging at high fastballs. All 3 strikeouts for fastballs right above his shoulder in his neck area. And Boonville's going to keep doing that to him because he has a problem laying off.
Diaz, his first pitch swinging over towards the shortstop Santiago. He flips to second in time, and it's out number 3. The Lumberjacks storm in to East Field and dominate the Dragons. The final 14-3. Boonville has worked their way into half a game behind that final playoff spot.
So huge for Boonville, not so huge for Glens Falls as this late season spiral continues. Some frustration, some bad errors, some bad plays. Looking like they had a little bit of life late in the thing, and then it got all sucked away.
The penultimate game at East Field goes in favor of the visiting Boonville Lumberjacks, and again, they move to within a half a game of the of the Mohawk Valley Diamond Dogs for the final postseason spot. It's going to come down to the wire for both of those squads. Either way, Glens Falls now drops to 11-27 on the season. The Lumberjacks improve to 19-20, and they have all the momentum they need to keep it going as 2025 ends. The final home game of the 2025 summer for Glens Falls will take place on Monday against the Saugerties Stallions, so you won't want to miss it. If you can be here, you'll want to be. It'll be an absolutely stellar one where the Dragons can take on the Stallions and tie up the season series. But from our entire staff here at the Glens Falls Dragons, alongside Luke LaRose, I've been Nathaniel Cunningham. Boonville beats down on Glens Falls 14-3.